As Kithure Kindiki assumes office as the new deputy president, he gets into that office with high expectations from Kenyans. And there are going to be several challenges for him because one of them is to try and unite the country. Remember, Rigathi Gachagua had been accused of being a leader who was only thinking of Mount Kenya. And so Kithure Kindiki steps into that shoes by juxtaposing himself as a leader who is very different, a man who is ready to, extend his olive branch to all Kenyans so that they can work together. The second challenge that Kithure Kindiki is going to face is trying to unite Mount Kenya itself, where he's coming from. Because one of the reasons why he was given this position is because he's coming from Mount Kenya. Even though it is now divided that Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West, it still remains as Mount Kenya. That's why William Ruto decided that he didn't want to take this seat anywhere else. Remember, there was the name of maybe Mudavadi was being proposed there. The Homa Bay governor was being proposed, Gladys Wanga, and several leaders. Even from coast, some were thinking that William Ruto would bring someone from the coast or Eden Duale, because there were several interests and lobbying. Many thought that maybe to get a compromised candidate, a neutral candidate, they would bring in someone like Eden Duale. But he decided to give it to Kithure Kindiki. So whether Kithure is going to manage to unite Mount Kenya, I don't know. It is something that we're still going to look at because many are seeing or looking at him as someone who has betrayed his brother. But that is not the only challenge of unifying the country or uniting the country. The other biggest challenge is the fact that people look at Kithure Kindiki as a man who cannot challenge the president. Remember, Rigiji had said that he used to challenge the president, and that is the reason why they fell out. And so, as he goes there, many are looking at him as a yes sir person, a person who will only be taking orders. Yet in that office, we believe that we need someone who is an assistant to the president. When you are a principal assistant, sometimes respectfully, you can challenge the president. Many people who gave their reaction after Kindiki was sworn in feel that Kenyans are left on their own because there is no one who will ever speak for them, because even the opposition is already pocketed and they are in Ruto's camp. And so many thought that Rigathi was the only opposition within the government. And people fear that we are headed in the wrong direction.
That you can be so vicious to a man who helped you to be president. And the crime of this man, telling you the truth. Don't evict people without compensation, Mr. President. Mr. President, don't overtax people. You are killing them, you are killing their businesses. Don't force a housing program on people. If people do not own these houses, don't force them. My only problem with the president is just being truthful, because nobody else can tell him. The framers of the 2010 Constitution wanted a deputy president who is elected as a buffer who can stand for the people. The charity we are being treated for, too, is get rid of an elected deputy president and appoint a control freak. A fellow you appoint who cannot ask a question, who cannot say anything. And I'm sure if they succeed, he'll be asked to sign an undated resignation letter so that in case he starts asking questions, he can just be told to resign. I'm the only man in the cabinet and in the whole government who can stand up to President William Ruto and tell him, hey brother, this is not right.
Lakini huyu Kindiki atakuwa anaambiwa mambo tu anafanya. Juu hiyo kiti hata hajachokea. Yeye hata hako kwa UDA. Sisi tunajua Rigathi na tunasimama na yeye.
Because Professor Kindiki ni mtu ambaye hawezi sema la, atasema ndio. Unataka yule kiongozi ambaye hawezi akakukosoa. Mbona kwa nini hautaki mtu ambaye anaweza akakukosoa vile ambavyo ulikuwa unakosoa kijana wetu Uhuru Kenyatta? Sababu ulizunguka hii nchi ukiwa unamkosoa. Ukiamka, ukilala, kwa mdomo yako ilikuwa ni Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Mbona saa hii hautaki kusikia Rigathi Gachagua akikukosoa vile ambavyo ulikuwa unakosoa Uhuru Kenyatta? Mbona?
But ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that William Ruto looks at Kithure Kindiki as a man who is very loyal. But Kenyans do not see the loyalty. They see a person who will be licking boots, a person who cannot look at the king and tell him, you know, you are wrong here. A person who can politely and humbly challenge the president. You know, Rigathi kept on telling us, like he said there, that things like demolition of houses were things that they had promised Kenyans that they would not do. But then William Ruto resurfaced with new ideologies that were not really good for Kenyans, and they did not resonate with Kenyans. And so he was telling the president, no, this is wrong. Kithure Kindiki cannot do that. That is what many people feel. Now, the biggest fear, as I have mentioned, is that even the opposition that was speaking against some of these atrocities is now in government. That is why you hear very little condemnation from the opposition. So when I say opposition, you know what I mean. There are voices in this country that when they talk, the government will listen. Kenya is headed in a very wrong direction, because usually the person who is the closest to the president is the deputy. And so the deputy is the person who has the responsibility of helping the president by telling him this is wrong. But then it is also on record. People have complained. People like the former Attorney General, J.B. Muturi, some cabinet secretaries are saying that William Ruto is micromanaging people. He does not want to listen to any other person. It is his way or the highway. And that is why they were at loggerheads, always with Rigathi Gachagua. Both of them are abrasive, the go-getters, people who, you know, for them to work very closely, they needed to be, one is so passive, another is active. And Kithure is a bit passive, so they will work together. But the fear is, who will tell the king that he's naked? Because the cabinet is subdued, deputy is subdued, everyone is subdued. Some people are also arguing that Kithure Kindiki has not been elected officially. He serves at the mercy of the president, and therefore he won't have the guts, he does not have the audacity of questioning the president, because he will be asked, why? Where do you have the authority? Because you are never elected. And they feel that Kithure serves at a very precarious moment when his hands are tied. Rigathi once said that Kithure will be given an anticipatory resignation letter. You write a resignation letter. The only thing that you don't put there is you don't insert the date, so that the day William Ruto is tired of you, then they simply insert the date, because you've already signed. That resignation letter is going to be signed by William Ruto and Rigathi and all the people, and even the cabinet of the secretary, if at all those are the requirements, so that you are kept at bay, you are controlled, knowing very well that if you mess a little bit, you are going home because there's a resignation letter. So there are a lot of speculations, but I always tell you that the crocodile and the hippopotamus live in water. When one tells you that the hippopotamus is bad or the crocodile is sick, you do not have any right to doubt them, because they have worked together. So it's going to be very interesting. We want to wait and see how things are going to unfold. But then Kenyans must not forget their civil rights. We need to keep the government on check, reminding them of their of their duty, because we are all taxpayers and we pay them heavily. We maintain their offices by the money that they collect from us.